Hi Ian, how are you? You alright?
I'm okay, Shaun. Yeah, thank you very much.
Good. Following on from your very successful INFOCasts that you've been having, we've been getting people emailing in and ringing in, asking to know a little bit more about what the PHA itself's been doing.
Okay.
And also, you seem to be having conversations with a lot of people, but nobody's really talking to you.
No, I know the feeling there, Shaun. Yep.
Always the forgotten man, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Always.
Yep.
I got roped in, drew the short straw, and I have to have a conversation with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to be asking me the questions, are you?
I'm going to be throwing at you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just remember then, Shaun, that officially I am your boss. Okay. So that's just a word of encouragement.
Okay, right. I'll scratch most of these then. Yeah. I just thought we'd run through a little bit of stuff.
Okay.
What
Good. Yep.
What we've been getting up to, because it's a good reminder to let you know, as you are my boss, just how busy we've been. You know what we've been doing.
Okay.
I just thought I'd quickly throw it out to you. So, what the charity's been up to over this sort of 4 or 5 week shielding, isolation, COVID-19 period.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's really interesting, isn't it, now? Because we're well into this sort of situation, the COVID-19, let's call it COVID-19 situation, and give it context. That who would have thought at the beginning of the year this is what was going to happen? But I think one of the things I would say straight away, Shaun, is that as an organisation, I think one of the things we've shown, and if this sounds like blowing our trumpet, I think this is the time to do that for ourselves and for our members, etc. Is that we've adapted very quickly to this new situation, and I think some of the things that I've got some sense of some of the questions you might be asking me, that how, for example, we've used online as a more of a direct access to people with pulmonary hypertension, their loved ones, their family, etc., about getting information there that is high quality. So I think we've been doing a lot, and we will continue to do a lot. We're in it for the long term to support people, one, affected by pulmonary hypertension, for those people who are working within the field of pulmonary hypertension. And we're doing it for the long term. And I also want to ensure, as the sort of chair of the organisation, that at the end of this pandemic, however that might look, and it will look different very slowly, is that we are stronger for having gone through it rather than weaker for having gone through it. So, I mean, maybe one of the things, Shaun, would be if you ask me specific questions about what we've been doing, and then we could, between us, just talk about what that is and how and why we've done that, and we can also explore potential some future opportunities in the coming weeks.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, so you mentioned there about sort of online stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I know because we've seen a lot of success both on social media and the website.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, the website, we always check, every sort of month or so, just to see how many people are visiting, which web pages have.
Yeah, now how do we do that, Shaun? I mean, is there a method in which that's done, officially and formally? How do you know how many people come to a website?
Yeah, so with our website and most really, there's something called analytics, which it doesn't grab any data from people's or anything like that. It's just sort of where people have been going on your website. So we can see how many people have visited, which web pages people have visited upon, not necessarily whom they are, but where they've gone to.
Yeah.
It's just a really good way that we use frequently to see how successful, and if we're sort of scratching in the right areas, like if we put a new story on, that's done really well. People are engaging with that. We'll put more of that on, because obviously more people want to hear about that. But unsurprisingly, we've checked over the past 4 weeks now, just to see where we are, in light of I knew that we were going to be having this conversation. So previously, last month, so not this month just gone, the month before, we had 7,500 people come through the website, which is, to say the disease area that we're in, it's a phenomenal amount of people to be recurringly coming through.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, that's encouraging in itself, isn't it?
It's not bad. So I was absolutely blown away when I saw that the last 4 weeks, so this sort of COVID-19 4 weeks, 17,500 people have come through the website.
17,500.
Yeah.
So that's certainly more than double, is it? It's 10,000 more.
10,000 more. And then, obviously, understandably, the the coronavirus sort of styled pages are the ones that have been getting most attraction, because that's what people are looking for.
So presuming these in these analytics that we can do, and I'm as you know, Shaun, has been when I'm in the office, that IT is not my strongest point. I want to be able to turn something off on and turn it on and off, and that's about it. But so with the analytics, you can actually not only see how many people have come to like your website, or even, I know that it's slightly different with social media, but you can see where they go on the website.
Yeah,
Is that right?
absolutely. Yeah. So we've had a quick look to see sort of like the top 10 pages, over the past 4 weeks. Like I said, the coronavirus ones are top. But what's quite encouraging is that the top 3 are the pages that you would expect, so the shielding protocols, what are they, medication, and how that's going to come through, and sort of the up-to-date news, like where we are right now. But then,
and I think, sorry for interrupting you, but as I say, I am your boss.
you allowed to.
One thing that we've been absolutely set on, and the standard of the information on our website, is 2 things. One, it's up to date, so every day it's updated. It's reviewed every day.
Yep.
And the information there will always have an evidence source. So we're not doing opinion here. We're not in the business of giving opinion. We're in the business of giving as much evidence. Sometimes that evidence is evolving and it will change over time. But one, it's up to date, and that's why I think I'm certain, aren't I, that on our website there's a date right at the top where it says last updated.
Time.
Yep, and the time, so it's updated every time. And it sometimes it will remain the same for day after day, but then occasionally, if there's something new, we will put that on. So I think that I'm really encouraged by that, and we as an organisation set that standard right from the word go, didn't we?
Well, that's what, and it's echoed in the INFOCAST that you've had. These healthcare professionals, we're one of the resources that they're advising their patients to use, alongside of the NHS, the government, and then the PHA. I mean, that in itself is, it's testament to what work's going off in the background to make sure it is always up to date and it's always relevant, and helpful.
And I think, again, it's one of the reasons that we've been doing and will continue to do the INFOCAST and like these sort of conversations, is that we want people who are, I know there's these phrases about experts, but these are the people that we've invited and have gladly got involved in the INFOCAST. The people like Dr. Martin Johnson last time up at Glasgow.
Yep.
These are the lead people in the UK, and Shaheen, the lead the doctor at the Great Ormond Street, etc. These are the lead people. So we are knocking on the doors of these people, asking them for the information. And as I say, I think the other thing from our perspective and from a patient and family perspective in the UK, that these very busy people are more than happy to get engaged and to work with us and work collaboratively.
Yeah, I mean, you can't ask for more. Like I said, we've knocked on the door, but we've happily been let in, which is nice given the situation that everybody finds themselves in.
Yeah.
But we've had that. I mean, we've had the other thing to mention as far as online goes is the social media presence. So we're trying to keep that.
So when we talk about social media, again, Shaun, thinking, a lot of people are like me. When we talk about social media, what are the words? What is social media? Is this things like
it'd be Facebook,
Twitter or
Twitter,
right? Okay.
Instagram? Nah, that's new. But we had a quick look. So the majority of the membership that we support and stuff, it's on Facebook because it seems to be the most social as far as the PH community goes.
Right.
And 30,000 peoples have visited and seen posts that we've put on over the past 4 weeks.
30,000.
30,000 people. Now, just to not to bore you, but that would be that if somebody was to have shared it, it would be all of their friends as well. But the good thing of that is it's just getting the message out even more so. So it's like you said then, that if coming out of this coronavirus pandemic, if we can come out of it stronger, potentially it might be that the PHA has been seen much more throughout social media and online. So coming out of it the other side, there's a bit more recognition there.
Yeah, so just more awareness of
Absolutely.
the condition itself. Because I mean, I know you keep, well, and I said as well, we will get on the other side of this, and we pulmonary hypertension will continue to exist and do that. So more awareness, and however it's identified, is absolutely sort of crucial, isn't it? One of the things that I know we've been developing through the website and sort of publicising it through social media, Shaun, is not just about information of the coronavirus, what you should do, shielding, those types of things, etc. Really, really important stuff. But we've also been trying to provide different resources, haven't we? And I think two that we've done, and maybe we could just sort of talk to these a little bit. The children's activity book and the adult wellbeing journal, which was probably launched this week, beginning of this week.
That was this week. I mean, we've also had the before that even we had the mail out that we'd sent out. So
oh yes, yeah.
So that there. I mean, that was something that I know you were very keen for us to get out, because you're always harbouring on about how not everybody has a computer.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
and not everybody who might have a computer is happy to or uses it for or uses it as a source of information. So the idea of the mail shot. And what was that number of the mail shot that went out?
4,600.
Right, so these are people who we might not be able to touch on the shoulder through either the website or social media. But one of the things that we did do in that mail shot as well was to say, look, we do exist, online, and if you want the most up-to-date information. And I think we've done this over the last few years as well, that we're aware that a lot of quite a number of our members who themselves may not have access to a website will ask their sons, daughters, grandchildren, etc. to access that type of information. So there's many ways in which, whether that individual themselves actually types in Pulmonary Hypertension Association, gets onto our website, but they'll have a member of a family that's actually doing that and feeding that information back, which is encouraging, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But just go back to the resources online then. So we've done the mail shot, and that sort of pointed a lot of people there. We might do another one towards, but we'll wait and see on that, because that's quite an expensive sort of thing to do. But if there's value, then that's okay. But the online stuff, the kids' activity book, because I was really pleased with that. I'm really proud of that. Just tell us about it, Shaun.
Yeah, so that came from an idea of works that we've been doing, haven't we? Collectively, the PHA in the background with academia. We've looking into anxiety and stuff like that, and we've separately, but the idea that was where the idea came from, was that having something that people could journal throughout this period, sort of filling gaps, trying to make it as positive as possible of a period of time. So the children's journal, which we sent out, it was aimed at sort of them journaling what's gone on in this period, like sort of interviews with parents and that sort of stuff, keeping kids entertained, but also maybe offering parents a bit of a break as well. And then most recently the adult journal, which was sort of separate, because as in design wise, because the kids was much more prescriptive.
Yep.
So it was page by page, you work through it and it's all there and you can pick your bits. Whereas the adult one, it was it's more of an ideas, so this is the kind of thing that you can do, these are the kind of things that you can put into place to journal what you're going through and how you're feeling, and some of these feelings may be unexpected, some may be unknown, you've never had. I mean, this is a unique situation, to put it politely, but again, just to let people know that we're definitely scratching the right areas. It's only been up 2 weeks. Both of them have been downloaded 300 times, over 300 times.
And I think we're right in saying that sort of 4,000, it's reached 4,000 people have had a look at it. So some people will download it and some people will use it online, isn't it? Can I be completely honest with that? And this is absolutely the truth. And I will, over the next few weeks, produce some pictures and we can put them online. Is that I have downloaded the children's journal.
Oh yes.
The colouring in one.
Yep.
And honest truth, and I'll provide the photographic evidence. I've ordered, and they've arrived 2 weeks ago. 2 days ago. A set of colouring pencils to colour them in, and over this weekend, if there's time, etc., and the weather's nice, I shall be sat certainly in my garden at least doing some of the children's activities. And I'm happy to share them, and unashamedly said I've downloaded them.
It's really good though.
It is, yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
We don't tell the design guys this stuff.
Oh gosh, no, because they'll want more money.
Exactly,
Yeah.
can't tell them that. But it's really good. So yeah, no, it's again, it's been really successful. That people have obviously saw it and thought, do you know what, that's something that I want to use and it's helpful. So we'll
And
have it.
you know, the adult journal type thing, and it's this ability, or it's this opportunity for, and it doesn't suit everybody, but you know, some people really benefit. And there's lots of evidence that if you write things down and then you review them and reflect on them, it can be really helpful mentally and psychologically. Because while you know, we all know there's you know, physiologically, you know, pulmonary hypertension is quite demanding, etc. The present situation is just highlighting lots of uncertainties, and the ability to be able to sit down and think them through is really good. And I would say as well, Shaun, that looking at those two activities, and hopefully we might produce some others similar, etc., is that they're not just for people with the said condition for pulmonary hypertension. It could be relatives, friends, family, etc. Anybody can get involved in that.
Absolutely. Well, actually, so the kids' activity book again. We have a lot of children that live on my street, and I know they're running out of things to do. So I said, well, guys, I don't know if you, but this is available to you, and they love it. And they have no association. They just know me as that guy who goes out and washes his car.
Yes.
And they still love that thing.
Are you still washing your car even now?
Yes, it's one of the few things I still take pleasure in. But yeah, no, it is. It's really good, really, really good. So if you've not had a look at it, you know, it's on our website, downloadable. But also, we'll happily send it out to you if you've not got access to a printer at home.
I think yes, and I know Paul. He's actually working in the office, isn't he? Paul Sefton is working in the office on his days, etc. So if people do need things printing, at the moment we've got the capacity to do it, and we'll do that. One other thing, just because we'll move on from the website and online stuff, because I know we talked about Mailshot, but the other bit I think is worth mentioning. We've talked about the anxieties and concerns and worries, etc. There's this partnership, ongoing partnership with Anxiety UK, which has been long-standing now. I think we've been involved with them for 6 or 7 years and have a contract and that. Can you just say a little bit about what that actually is again, Shaun?
Yeah. So again, like you said, we've been partnered up with them for years. I'm sure it is something like 6 or 7 years. But what Anxiety UK offer is a helpline service. Immediately, a helpline service for those whom it's a case of that I need to speak to somebody. I need to really explain what it is that I'm going through, and I need somebody to listen. And Anxiety UK offer a fantastic service on free phone number, just direct through ourselves. They have an rudimentary understanding of what pH is, so it won't be a case of that you have to go through all of that, which I can imagine is a burden in itself, having to explain that each and every time you speak to somebody. But if it's a case of that you would like to progress further, so it's helping, but as somebody who's suffering, you need a little bit more. I believe they're at distance doing counselling services with qualified counsellors, psychiatrists. I can imagine they have many things like acupuncture and stuff like that, but I would imagine that's difficult at social distancing. A bit like a dart, throwing a dart at your back. But again, that's completely free for membership. The details are all on the website. They're in the Emphasis magazine.
So that's really good, Shaun, on that, and I think it's a testimony to I think us as an organisation, particularly to people like you, to Helen, to Paul, and to Mary and John specifically, who are putting all this sort of stuff together and working through, and we're regularly in contact. One of the things that you have done in the office as well, Shaun, and I know you're supposed to be interviewing me, but here's an opportunity again to tell us how busy you are. Is that between you made the decision to extend the office opening hours?
Yeah, it was something
weekends.
Early doors that we decided to do, because generally it's Monday to Friday, but we obviously saw scope for a need there that particularly in the early days, because people were phoning so frequently, because the information was a little bit all over the place. You know, everybody was sort of frantically trying to find out what was necessary, what wasn't. So we took the decision nice and early that we will extend our opening time to cover weekends as well, which is what we've been doing ever since.
Yeah.
And again, that's been appreciated, because I'm getting phone calls. So it's definitely we're there to help. We're there to support. It's what we do. It's what we.
Yeah. So what you're offering there is maybe some practical support, but it's also sometimes a listening ear.
Often,
a listening ear.
Often.
Yeah.
Often.
That's good. Okay, right, Shaun, you turn the tables on me. You ask me something now.
Right.
Okay,
No.
I've been grilling you.
Well, you're the ideas man, Ian. So
hmm
I suppose the best place to start is be what it is that we're thinking of doing after this. So you've mentioned that this will end. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
we'll still be here. We'll still be supporting people. Um, so what does it look like post COVID-19? What have the charity been doing behind the scenes right now to support people after
Okay.
that?
Well, that's good. I mean, I think again, it is healthy to have some sort of horizon fixing about what we'll do, because we will get over this, and we'll continue to need to do the things that we've been doing for the last 20 years. I mean, it is our 20th anniversary this year. It's a funny anniversary, isn't it? 20. We were going to make a bit of a song and dance about it, but I think what we'll do, and I've personally been thinking about this, and maybe what we need to consider is next year we will be
21.
21. So we'll do maybe let's do a big 21 anniversary
It's a
type
big
thing.
birthday, 21. Isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So going back to your question and going down a side road again, I think some of the things that we are doing. I mean, we are going to continue. Emphasis magazine. Our quarterly magazine is up and running, and we're working on the next Emphasis magazine, which I think, Shaun, is it June that it'll be due out? Yeah.
June.
So we're coming up towards the end of April. So it's not that long, and there's a lot of work being done on that so far. So that's really good. There will be some stuff in the Emphasis magazine about the present situation, but it'll also be about people's stories of living with pulmonary hypertension and future sort of stuff. That I think we're very clear that on the survey work that we've done over the years, that Emphasis magazine, from a membership point of view, is probably the pinnacle of all the things that we do, because it's very topical,
massive.
and
Yeah.
so that's ongoing, and we're working on that as well. I know you've been working specifically again with the team, but you've been leading on this about a new resource enabling and equipping people to engage more successfully with the benefits process.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to say a little bit about that
Yes.
yourself?
Well, we've got a number of publications out now, and in fact, we will be doing, whether or not it's this Emphasis magazine or the next one, we'll be sending out a survey looking into how people have found the assessment process. So what that'd be is, if you've applied for benefits, so you've made that initial application, and then somebody's come to your home, it's that whole overarching. So how did you find the initial application? How did you find the assessment? If you had to appeal, how did you find that? Because we really want to fully understand what that process, that pathway, that journey was like for you.
Yeah.
But in the interim, because there are still people still applying, still needing help, we're in the process of creating a publication to help people with that assessment. So somebody from this organisation is coming to my home to assess me.
Right.
What do I need to know?
So this is a resource that's going to enable people to be more prepared,
Yeah,
is it?
absolutely.
And those sorts of things. So that's really important. That we're not stopping and just concentrating on one thing. We're concentrating on the other thing, on the other things as well. This started before the COVID situation, but we're continuing to work on some resources. We recently, I can't remember if it was just at the beginning of the year, the information booklet that we did on contraception and pulmonary hypertension, which is a big issue and stuff like that. And the next part of that piece of work is looking at pregnancy and pulmonary hypertension, and it's going to be I think a world first, that we're using people's experiences who've decided not to get pregnant because of the pulmonary hypertension, and how so this is real life people with pulmonary lived experiences with people with pulmonary hypertension and their partners, etc., about decisions to continue with pregnancy, not to. Also bringing in clinical experts like obstetricians and medics, and what their thoughts are on when we say it's very risky, why is that, and why sometimes people make the decision not to continue with that pregnancy, and sometimes people do continue, and what those are. So I'm really excited about that, because we know, Shaun, I know you've been from working in the office, that year after year we're constantly asked for information that explains this, rather than just saying it's very risky. that's not enough these days, and so I'm really excited about that, and that's ongoing, and we're probably working up to the first draft of that. And again, it's this thing about having an evidence base, so it's using people's lived experiences, but also being very realistic and very honest about what the risks are. So going back to the experts, the clinical experts, the doctors and nurses in those fields, and other people, and seeing what happens there. So that's a big thing, and it'll be the first. I think we'll be the first organisation globally in the world of PH to really tackle that at the level that we will be doing, and enabling lived experiences to be talked about.
No, I'm really excited about that, because it's coming together now. You can finally start to see all of the bones coming together and everything. It looks like it's going to be something special.
Yeah,
It really does.
Yeah. And I think maybe, there are many things we could go on, but thinking, people might want to go and make a cup of tea with it, really. Because one of the things with the information casts and these is you can stop and start them. But I think the other thing is, and again, this was started some time ago, and it's continuing, and is some work that we're doing. This time it's going to be with Sheffield University, the psychology department in Sheffield University. And again, it's producing some sort of material or workbook, which will be part of somebody's study, some academic study, but we'll be using the materials, and we're working to develop these on looking at, again, as we touched upon earlier on, about anxiety and emotional well-being, living with this condition, and across the board, whether that's somebody with the pulmonary hypertension or the families, etc. So it's a almost, I think, for the want of a better term, and forgive me for using it at the moment, because we might come up with a different term, something like a self-help 4-part course that people can do at their own leisure to do that, again with an evidence base. And I know you've been sort of involved in the initial discussions with that project, Shaun.
No, again, I've seen the first draft came through in the last day or so. I mean, you lose track of days at the moment. It does. It looks amazing. What's been pulled together, the CBT sort of nature of it, and it's just something that people genuinely think will help people.
Yeah, you just slipped into that thing there, Shaun. CBT.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Cognitive behaviour therapy.
That's the one.
Yeah, we never use abbreviations, do we?
I've read it though.
I'm perfect every time. I never use abbreviations.
Oh,
it is just so people know that. But again, I think this is I keep saying it, and it will always be. While I'm sort of chair the organisation, we produce things and respond to what people want, not what we think people want. And again, it's something that has been asked for a long time. I think we touched upon it early in this conversation, our collaborative work with Anxiety UK, which is very specific, and that's more formal potential counselling resources there. But this can be more of a self-help and exploratory type thing. So a constant noise in the background for this, either through our websites, etc. And I know when we've done national conferences, is one of the things that our members and people with pulmonary hypertension continually ask for. And again, also, I know that the specialist teams at the various PH centres have said it would be good if these things were available.
Well, that's one of the bits. So we did the emotional impact survey, didn't we, at the end of last year? And often one of the things that people say when they phone into the office is, what did you ever do with that? So I filled it in, I sent it back, I got a lovely report, thank you very much, but what did you do with it?
Yeah.
And this is the kind of thing, so there may not necessarily be blatantly obvious, but the information that we got out of the emotional impact survey said this is an area that we definitely need to look into, so we immediately started looking and seeing how we could. So for anybody filling surveys in the future, past, present as well, that we do stuff with this information. We were always using it as an evidence base, as a driving force to see where to go next.
Yeah. I mean, it was really interesting as well, wasn't it? Because that happened. We did the emotional impact survey, and this is one of the outputs from it. But wasn't it really interesting, Shaun? Because the reason we're working this time with Sheffield University is purely by chance. They knocked on our door, didn't they? Because they got a student, a psychology student who's quite experienced but developing further, looking to do some work. And it was one of those coincidences that was just perfect in a way. That's why we've done that, and we've spent probably the last sort of 3 to 4 months working and exploring from a blank page to where we're at now. So again, I would say that's really encouraging. So it's a good question. What about the future and things like that, and we continue to do that. We'll continue keeping our eye on the present situation and responding to that, but continuing to think about the future as well.
And I suppose, because I've got one last question for you. But
right.
Before that, I do just have to mention what membership have been doing in the interim as well. So we've been doing lots of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's been honestly some corkers. Because I know that you're not necessarily a chap for social media yourself.
I'm not. No.
So we've had all sorts of things. So what's been really nice is that there's a private peer support group that we sort of moderate, but generally it's all members chatting, and the support that they've given each other throughout this has been phenomenal. It really has, and I can imagine just that group in itself has helped healthcare a lot, because it's that peer support that you can go immediately tap into. Hey guys, we've had this. Anybody else? What's going off here?
Yeah.
But there's also been really novel stuff. So we had a young girl called Emily sent in a video by her mum, and she was just explaining sort of what she'd done, and that's had 5,000 views.
Oh, is this a short? So it was about 30, 40 seconds worth of stuff. The little last 9-year-old. Oh, it's superb, that, wasn't it? Really. And I think that'd be. People listening to this, anybody could do that type of thing and send it to us to the Media PH website, the media email sort of thing, and and then not just children, anybody, and if we probably won't be able to use them all, but I really would encourage people to do that, because the peer support stuff at this time, at any time, is really crucial and actually helps enormously.
There's only so much Shaun and Iain anybody can take.
Yes, yeah, absolutely,
But there's people have been doing, so we've had crocheting, people have been making scrubs as well, to support the NHS and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we have had one, and it was a lady called Bev, and she did a guess the tune quiz, and she's doing it every week. It's bonkers, but it's a bit of humour, so in what's going off.
All right, yeah.
Bit of humour. You can't. It's
absolutely.
It's
crucial.
It could be the greatest medicine, can't it?
As long as it's not irreverent and stuff like that, humour is absolutely crucial. Best medicine sometimes. Very much agree with that. But I'd heard about the guess the tune stuff. That's an ongoing thing every week. And anybody that's got any ideas like that, just get in touch, and we use them and share them and stuff like that. But and I have seen pictures of baking and amazing stuff, and some things, to be quite honest, you think, right, what on earth is that? But beauty's in the eye of it, but it's all about taking part and doing stuff, isn't it? And I, as you know, I don't eat puddings and chocolates and things like that, but I know people like you and Paul and Helen in the office spend huge amounts of time doing so.
We do, yeah. I mean, in fact, I've finally got my hands on somebody's lemon drizzle cake recipe, and I've already ate one of them.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's not been good for my waistline this lockdown.
No.
But I will move away from my waistline.
Yes,
it's my last question.
Okay.
So, it's something that you always ask, so I do listen to you, INFOCAST.
Okay.
It's something that you always ask the people that you're talking to, so I'll ask you, is what is your key message to the people listening that are living with PH at this time?
Okay, I think it's keep it fairly simple. I think, hopefully, nothing sort of scientific, etc. I think it's one of the things I've worked in pulmonary hypertension and privileged to be involved in caring and helping support people with pulmonary hypertension probably for the last 25 years now. And one of the things I've learned through that time from people with pulmonary hypertension, the families and friends specifically as well, is the deep sense of strength, etc., that comes from resilience. That resilience that's within, and to tap into that.
Yeah.
And I think we clinically as clinicians, doctors, nurses, physios, pharmacists, etc., can learn a hell of a lot from people living with conditions like pulmonary hypertension and their families, etc., about how it is possible to adapt to very unexpected new situations. How a condition like pulmonary hypertension can sometimes take away what I would consider the taken for grantedness of tomorrow, but still achieve stuff in a very different way. and it is, it's anxiety-inducing, frightening sometimes. But I've learnt, as I say, over those 25 years, all the sort of clever stuff about new drugs and where we can do stuff and all that is the importance of just looking at people and see what we can learn from each other. And you mentioned it a couple of times in this conversation, Shaun, about peer support. Yeah. You get peer support by sharing, and we're always stronger together than individually. So that'd be my key message. Stronger together. Yeah. Beautiful. Right. Thank you very much. I think we'll do this again at some time. Okay, in the near future. I think you've been. I think I'll allow you to interview me again. I know I've done a lot of interviewing back, but I've enjoyed it, and it's helpful just to review those things. I know it's been probably a fairly lengthy one, but it's been more of a conversational thing, thoughtfully, than a specific information. Oh, they should listen into us actual phone calls. Jeez. Okay. Yes. Oh, that's great. Okay, then, Chuck. Thank you very much. Ta-da. Bye. See you later.